Good morning, Rabbi Sai. It actually is morning here in Far Rockaway again. We're in Ater Shimon. Once again, I want to say thank you to Rabbi Farkovich for arranging everything, and Rabbi Broner for allowing us to use and for the island, for being mechazik, because ein daima sitting in a room by yourself like you did Erev Yontif, locking the doors, making sure not to wake up anybody, and it's different. When you're in a Beis Medrash, there's a few people. It's Gavaldik, 12:15 in the morning. Lili Nishmas Imi, Ruzbas Mordechai, Avi Sherman, Shalom Aleichem, Avi Sherman, the Sherman family of Kew Garden Hills. Lilu Nishmas Hadmor me Pittsburgh, Mordechai Yisachar Ber ben Avram, Abba, Zecher Tzadik V'Kosh Levrocha. What's the connection? There's a connection. Wow. All right, so we have the schus of having Avi Sherman every single night here in Far Rockaway. Sishkoyach Avi. Be'ezer Hashem, tomorrow I do have tickets to go back to Chicago, and I also have tickets to go back to Eretz Yisrael a week from today, Monday. We'll see if that works out. That's the plan. Today is also the yahrzeit of the Ribnitz Rebbe. You know, I had somewhat of a connection to him when I was a kid. His neshama should have an aliyah. Unfortunately, it's also the yahrzeit of a friend of mine and a friend of everybody in Chicago, Yoni Cohen, who's nifter today in a terrible car accident. His neshama should have an aliyah. It's a tremendous tragedy. Very young man. He was like in his 40s, maybe 46. Tremendous Bal Tzedakah, Bal Chesed, B'Seiser. Unbelievable stuff. Klal Yisrael lost a tremendous Bal Tzedakah and Bal Chesed. He was also, I mean, this has nothing to do, but he did not get killed in a plane crash. And he owned a plane. That's not what happened. He was in a car accident. So, sponsored anonymously, Refuah Shleima for Tamar Elisheva Bas Devora. So she should have a Refuah Shleima, Yishkoyach Eli, and by our very good friend, sponsored by OU User. You see him on Zoom every day, OU User. Reb Mati Grunberg, one of the Gdoilim of OU, for Refuah Shalema of his father, David Tzvi ben Malka, who lives just down the block from the Daf at 827. He's telling us the address. I guess he wants us to go visit after Shir. I'm not going to do it. I don't know what he's sick from. If he has COVID, it might be a problem. From the Daf at 827 Caffrey Avenue, Far Rockaway, for over 66 years, he lived at this location. So then Reb Mati, you probably know my father from Far Rockaway all the way back then when he was a Magid in Shar Yoshev. All right, he should have a Refuah Shleimer, David Tzvi ben Malko, Shkoyach. Real quickly, we have here from Yossi Sounders. Dear Eli, hope you're enjoying the Daf in the USA. I'm enjoying it in Cyprus. I met another 8-minute Daf member, Mark Duman, a Scotsman living in Manchester. My daughter got in the act too. So here, I guess that's Yoni and Mark from Manchester. Here's the picture of Boisai. Beautiful Cyprus, Givaldik, the Daf in Cyprus. I do want to say thank you to our good friend, Reb Avi Tekotsky, who, when you walk into my house in Eretz Yisrael, there's a painting that I got my wife, tremendous Hakar Satayv, and I got your present today from your nephew, Yishkoyach. What's your name? Avi Lang, Yishkoyach. All right, and now a short, quick, you know what, another Yishkoyach, tremendous Yishkoyach too. David Dimbert. He decided that the Bun coffee machine that we serve our Folgers, we have two beautiful coffee machines that do custom coffee, lattes, cafe appuch, whatever they're called. You can do, you push a button. We have two of those. But for the others that want Folgers, we have a Bun. He decided that's not good. He bought us a brand new one. And I got this. This is a picture from Yeshua. If it's not for anybody else, if it's just for Yeshua, it's Kedai. Look at his Hana. 4 different arrows to explain to me what the machine does. It has 3 hot plates and special hot water, and you tie in the water directly to the machine. You never have to fill it up. And Yeshua is very busy filling and unfilling. And Rabbi Schoenberg comes in the morning early and before everybody shows up and he turns it on. Big Kitzer, you don't have to do that anymore because the machine is on and also works on Israeli electric, not the American.
He's there right now.
What?
He's there right now filling up, making coffee for people.
Rabbi Schoenberg, sorry, job over. Okay, Yishakayach, no, because Rabbi Schoenberg died as a Sikhin, so he had a whole thing. When we're in the other place, turn it on, whatever. Yishakayach David Dimbert. Oh, and real quickly, let's just do this real quickly. From Yoni Nagler. Rebelli, I'm happy to share with you the wonderful news that my wife had a baby boy this morning. When we left the house to go to the hospital, I brought Eruvin along with us. This is the first time I've ever brought a Gemara with me. I hope he's talking about to the hospital. Thank you for infusing our hospital stay with Torah. This is what's going to happen. We're going to learn about it today, that you don't want to have chayiv. You have a chayiv. You have to do the daf. You bring the Gemara with you. Amazing. It changes people, right? You can't imagine how many people came over to me. My life has been changed since I started doing the daf. I have to learn now on Chalamayid, on this, on Friday, going to the hospital. I would have very much loved to have gone to Yeshurim in person, but I'll have to wait until your next trip back to New York. All the best. Mayad and Simcha and safe travels. Yoni, it's not about the daf, it's about the Yoni, Nagler, Staten Island, New York. Yavaldik. All right. Today, this is Daf Samachei, and we are starting from the bottom of Samach Dalad Amud Beis. Yesterday, I said over a wild Ben Yehoyada, and I told it over to my Chavrusa today, and he didn't say the word Shoita, but I think that's what he meant. He says, it's a Mefurish Gemara in Brachas. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he said the words, it says in Brachas, V'idachel made a bisha delay, and if you're scared of your own ayin hara, you should look at the left nostril. Anybody remember that Gemara? After he said it, yeah. You should look at your left nostril. So I looked it up, I punched in those words, and he was right. It's right there in Gemara Brachas. What daf was it? I think it was, I forgot to write down the daf. It was, but you can look it up yourselves, like Mem Hey maybe, Mem Vav, I don't remember anymore. V'idachel me'ena bisha delay. If you're scared of your own ayin. Okay, just to fix, to make a correction, it's not the Ben Yoda. The whole koilo, the whole Daf Yomi koilo, Rabbi Say, from the beginning of Brachas till Daf Nun Gimel in Eruvin, one test, the entire Daf Yomi koilo, our koilo. So let's wish them luck. What is that? It's I don't remember, 260 daf, 27. I don't even know how many daf. It's a lot of daf. Omer Rav Sheishas, Mishum Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. The bottom of Daf Samach Daled Amud Beis. If I want, I could be a lawyer for Klal Yisrael, and I have a way out of everything. I'll tell the Rebbeinu Shalom Shenemar, Lochein Shimina Zois Aniya Ushchuras V'Lo Miyayin. We're all shikr. We're all drunk, and not even from wine. So if you're drunk, you're not responsible for everything you do. L'chayra meisvei shikar mikchoy mekach umimkari memkar. If a person who's drunk buys something, it's chal. If he sells something, you can't say, "Oh, I sold the house. I was drunk." Too bad. It's all good. Of and he does something. He does avodah zarah chas v'shalom when he's drunk. Mimsin he dies. If a person DUI, you can't say, "Oh, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing." DUI, he goes to jail for life. Malchus, Malkin oisai. If he deserves Malchus, give Malchus. Kloshe davar. This is the rule. Hareu ki pikech l'chol dvarav. A person who's drunk is like a normal person for all his actions. Ella shepoter min atfila. He is poter from davening. Tefillah needs kavana. Tefillah, you have to stand in front of a king, and you're not in the proper mindset to stand in front of a king. So you're potter from tefillah, but it doesn't mean that what you do is not chal. This is what I meant to say. Says Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. Midin tefillah. Midin tefillah. If Akash Baruch Hu comes b'tainat to Klal Yisrael, how come you weren't mechavim b'tefillah? So I'm going to tell Rebbe Shalom they're all shikr. They don't know how to have kavana, and that actually now I'm thinking that explains a lot that we're going to see today. A lot of halachas. A person that came from the way, he doesn't daven for 3 days, doesn't apply today. We don't have the kavana. We're shikarim, so it doesn't even apply. Just daven as you are shikr. Forget about it. Yesterday we didn't even mention, we had yesterday Shasui and Shikar. But now we have a third Madrega. Shichrus of light. He was so drunk that he didn't even know he was with his own daughters, and we know what happened over there. Amoin, Moyav, etc. Okay. Then he's already in the gather of a shaita. Mamish has no idea what's going on. People are working on him. They're opening up his eyelids to see if he's conscious. You know those guys in Purim? Those guys are potter from everything. Omer Reb Chanina. Kol mapik. Now we're going to have this word mapik. What does the word mapik mean? So Reb Chanina learns it differently than we have it throughout the entire Shas. Mapik, he means if you don't do, you remove something. Usually mapik mergolios, it comes out. Mapik means to take out, to put out. Over here it's the opposite. He's removing. Kol mapik mogain. If you don't say mogain avram, in other words, you don't say Shemona Esrei. B'shas gava, when you're drunk, if you refrain from saying Shemona Esrei when you're drunk, so he won't have tsar, he won't have tsar, so Baruch Hu will protect him. In other words, it's a good idea to eliminate tefillah completely when a person is drunk. Shenemar, gava, in other words, shichrus, gava, afike moginim, those who don't say it, sagur choysam tsar, Baruch Hu will seal it off, the tsar will be closed off and sealed away, you won't have the tsar. My mashmad aya apik lishno the buru. How do you know that the word apike means don't do? Get rid of it. The chsiv by Eov it says achai bogdu kimoinochal. My brothers, they betrayed me like a river. Ka'apik necholim yavoiru. Yavoiru is a lashon of passing by. They passed me by like a river. They didn't even pay attention to me. So kafik is not to be there. Eov is saying they weren't there for me. They kept on going. So Rebbe says, no, the word mapik is a lashon of saying Shemona Esrei, not saying Shemona Esrei. Kol she'enoi mapik itmar. But Rebbe is saying the same exact thing. He's just saying that the word mapik is the reverse of what you thought it means. But you have to put a loy beforehand. Mapik means to say Shemona Esrei. So he's just saying, Kol she'enoi mapik. If you don't say Shemona Esrei, that's what the pasuk is saying. That person who doesn't do a mapik, who doesn't put out the Shemona Esrei, he will have no tsar. My mashmad mapik listen to the geluyu. How do I know that apik means to reveal? And I think if you look in most of Shas, that's how we use the word. It's brought many, many, many times. The word mapik. The chsiv vayiro afike mayim vayigalu will reveal moizdos tevel. The foundations of the world will be revealed. So afike is to put out. Mirdi kroi mashma, this pasuk of afike, and you have rayis from different psukim to both directions. Mashma ben lamar, might be nice. So then at the end of the day, what's the difference between Rebbe and Reb Chanina? So the Gemara gave an the Rav Sheshes. The Rav Sheshes masar shinte l'shamoy. Rav Sheshes, when he was slightly drunk, he would tell his shamish, let me sleep, let me take a very short nap. And wake me up, let me daven. So, could you daven with a very short nap? That's the machlokes here. Mar Islay, Rav Sheshes, Rebbe holds that you could daven, or Mar less of the Rav Sheshes, is more machmir. He says, no, it means you have to get rid of it completely. You have to apik, get it out completely. It's not here. Fine. Actually, I was supposed to make a shahakal on this. It's actually better. It's also to make everybody in Israel jealous. Let me just show everybody. It's a nice geschmack slurpee. Gashmius of America. Can't wait to get back to Eretz Israel. Can't wait. They make these little straws here in New York and Chicago. It's like this. Kids are all right. Zokti Gemara.
My gosh, we're so jealous that you're there.
You, big talker. You were across the street from 7-Eleven, and all you did all day is drink Slurpees because your wife wasn't making you food. So big talker. Look at the other guys that's stuck in America, in Israel for years. They wish they had, look, 2 flavors. Now you're jealous. I know. Seriously, we got off the plane. First thing, 7-Eleven. Ask your old Bergman. After share, 1:30 in the morning. Rav Eli, can we have Slurpees? Kitzer. I owe him a Slurpee. So all these halachas don't apply to us today. Don't take any hints from this sugya. If you're not settled down and you can't concentrate, says the Gemara, don't daven. That doesn't apply to us because we don't daven well anyway. When you have tsar, you shouldn't paskin halachas, you shouldn't daven. Rashi says, shenemar batzar, very interesting lashon. I searched for this pasuk, ve'einoi b'chol haksuvim. Not only did Rashi know all of Tanakh Baal Peh, but he says, I did a check again. I went through everything. I couldn't find it. V'shemo b'sefer ben Sirahu, perhaps it's in Sefer ben Sirah. If you want more on that, look at Taisvas. Rabbi Chanina, b'yom derotach lo yimatzli. Rabbi Chanina, if he got upset, he wouldn't daven that day. Omar b'tzar al yoira. Don't tell this to your children, to your teenagers. Just got me upset. You just woke me up. I'm not davening today. No, doesn't apply today. When there was a southern wind, there was a storm, he wouldn't go paskin. When you paskin something, you need a clear mind. So that's the opposite of yoima deshusa. It's a northern wind. It calms you down, says Rashi. It's shmak. It's everything. That's what you need when you want to paskin halachas. You have to have a clear mind. Omar Abai. Yomer li'eim korev kutka. Give me the kutach. Pass the dip. That's it. Lo tanoi. I can't learn that day. Don't bother me with anything. I need clear mind. Whatever it means. It's a mashal. But the point is that a person has to have yishuv adas when he learns Torah. Omar Rava ikaratz don kino. If a louse bit me, I'm done. I can't learn. Lo tanoi. His mother made him. Rabbi said, we were so spoiled. I guess everybody has this. His mother had 7 pairs of clothing for him for every day so that he shouldn't get bit by the lice that were prevalent in those days. Zog to Gemara. It's a sad day today, even in Edison. He learned, Yoni Cohen learned in Edison, but I do want to make a shout out to Yitzi Berger from Edison. Somebody that watches all the time, a good friend of Avi Kamalar. Also, they need a lot of chizik over there. Omer Rav Yehuda, lo ibrei leilio elo lishinto. The nights were only created for sleeping. You should take a good sleep. So Taisus points out, if you look at the tiny little Taisus towards the end of the page, in other words, it's only short nights. If there's a 12-hour night, you're not supposed to chrup for 12 hours. If it's a very short night, so that whole night is meant for sleeping. The moonlight was only created so that people can learn Torah. And what about bulbs and electric? L'chayr the same thing. Because Baruch created so that we now at 12:35 a.m. could learn Torah. They told Reb Zera, look, you're staying beautiful. What's going on? The moment, this is Torah that I came up with during the day when I was settled and everything was good. Huh? Daylight for sure is for Torah. That's exactly what the Gemara is saying. Daylight is for Torah. But even moonlight, which is a little shvach and it's harder to learn, also for Torah. Boys, we should chap around this Agadata because it's finishing soon and we're going back to Eruvin. Even today, the sheets are coming back. Zog the Gemara, Omrle Brati the Rav Chizda, Rav's wife, the daughters of Rav Chizda. It says daughters of Rav Chizda told Rav Chizda. This, by the way, I don't know if I saw it in the Gemara, but I try to use this line a few times to my wife, and it's a terrible idea. I'm not joking. It just happened, like recently. Ellie, I think you need a nap. So I said, don't worry about it. I'll be taking a nap. Trust me. I'll be sleeping for many years straight. That's not funny. Okay. Don't you need a daddy? Don't you mar? They called him master. I think you should take a nap. Omar lo hashta asu yoyim dariche v'ktine. There's longer days. V'neinum tuva. Don't worry about it. I'll be sleeping geschmack for a very long time. But right now, you have to chaperein as much as you can chaperein. It's our job. The nap time will come. But as long as we're up, we have to grab whatever we can grab. Omar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchok, Anan poyele diyamam anan. We are day workers. In other words, he's trying to say that we have to learn whatever you learn during the day. That's bedaita tzilusa. What? Anan. So listen to this, Rabbi Yisai. There's a beautiful Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. He says, and this is a yesod for life. A lot of people, they get discouraged. I learned a lot of Gemara, I don't remember much, I don't understand much. And Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says that our job is not so much the outcome as much as we do. We have to do and do. It's not about the performance and what the outcome is. That's what he says. If you learn and you're doing what you're supposed to do and you don't remember and you don't understand, you still get the schar as if you learned, as if you remember and everything else. It's an amazing yesod, it's a tremendous yesod. And he says, listen to this. He says this in Yiddish, there's 3 tons. Ton means to do. He says, ton nit noch ton. Nit is the real itfak, so nit instead of nisht, whatever. But nit noch ton. Don't do to imitate. Do for yourself. He says, ton nit upton, not to take revenge. And ton nit oiftun. You don't, so that's the yesod. You don't have to oiftu. You don't have to accomplish. That's not our job. It's not to accomplish. We don't have to be Tamid Chachamim. We don't have to know Shas Bal Peh. We have to learn Torah. What happens, happens. But our job is, we're schir the yoimah. We get paid by the day. We don't get paid by the job. If the job is not that great, we still get the same pay. That's the yesod. And I want to tell you a beautiful thing, a nice chap, that when I heard it really, there's 2 people. There's a guy who's mamsha a genius. Everything he reads, he remembers. Everything he learns, he knows, he understands, and he remembers. But he only operates at 40% capacity. He's a little lazy, 40%. So Mela, but he knows Shas. He knows Shas cold. He knows Shulchan Aruch cold. But he's at 40%. There's another guy, the mamish harav, he works and works. He doesn't know anything. Garnish, but he works all day long. As much as his Baruch game, he works. Who has more schar in Olam Amas? Huh? Everybody will say. Obviously, the guy, the schlepper, the guy, the lo yuslach guy. Here's the question. What about kavod in this world? Who do you have to give more kavod to? The guy that knows Shas, but he's at 40 capacity? Or the guy that works like a machine and doesn't know anything? What does the Balaam say? Let me see on Zoom. Number 1, the guy that knows Shas, or number 2, the guy that works really hard. Who do you have to give kavod to? A lot of twos. Anybody with 1? 3, both. One Schamberg, 2. Everybody's saying 2. And that's the trick. It's a trick question. The answer is, it's not a trick question. It's mind-boggling. The guy that knows, that works really hard, he gets much more schar in Olam Emes. But in this world, we have to be mechabed the Torah. That guy knows Shas and knows Shulchan Aruch, we have to be mechabed him. We don't go into cheshbonos, how much they use of his brain. He's a Talmud Chacham, we have to give him schar. It's a nice chap, huh? Ba'akoparim, it goes back to this idea of we have to work. We have to work. What happens it's not our problem. Says the Gemara, this is also a very big yesod Rabbi Yosef Daf Yomi. Rav Bar Yaakov, and look in Rashi, he said, this is how much I'm going to learn every day. So every day, for us, every day I'm going to learn a daf. Is smack in the middle of the page. So you would learn during the day. He was a dentist. He had to work during the day sometimes. You have to pay up the Torah that you have at night. Yosef upara, he would at night if you forget the daf. In fact, it's a mefurish Shulchan Aruch and the Tur. They both paskin lahalacha. You mechuyev to pay back that night. Now, if you miss it, it's a bit of a problem. Then it's what's the lashon? Chaval davden, not chaval davden. Whatever the lashon is on Kriya Shema. If you don't say Kriya Shema, Muvas lo yochel liskan. Beautiful, thank you. That's exactly the lashon. But anyway, the point is, so it's negate us. People that are doing the daf, if you for some reason can't do the daf during the day when you're used to, do it at night. Try not to go to sleep without doing Yosef upara. Omer Rebbe Lazar, haba min haderech hayispal shlishi yomim. Says Rebbe Lazar, somebody that had a long trek, especially in those days, donkey this, not like in a car. Hayispal shlishi yomim. You shouldn't daven for 3 days. Shenemar. Ve'ek b'tzeim el hanor haba al achva v'nachne shom yom shloisha v'avinu bam. Bekitzer, you don't daven for 3 days. Look, it says shloisha yom v'avinu. Then only afterwards, I'll understand what the nation needs. Again, not negate to our days. We don't daven kavanah anyway. Like we had a lachas of, do you repeat Shemona Esrei? You didn't have kavanah. Shulchan Aruch passings in our day. You don't repeat when you don't have kavanah, because anyways you don't have kavanah. What about it? Distractions? Yeah, we don't care about that. We just go. 3 days on the way, he didn't. When he came back from a big trip, he wouldn't daven for 3 days. Says Rashi, if there was beer in the house and the smell would be mishakar him, he would get shikr just from the smell. So he wouldn't daven there. Rav Papa used to sell beer, but Rav Papa wouldn't daven in a house that they did fried fish, fried schnitzel. The smell bothered him. If a person, you can convince him easily when he drinks, similar to the Rebbeinu Shalom, Shenemar, V'yoreach Hashem es reach hanichayach, coming up now, Parshas Noach. Hashem smelled it, and the smell got him. So you see that you could smell something and be mispated from wine also. Omer B'chiyah call him Siyashe V'yenoi, Yesh Boi Das Shivim Skenim. If a person is he's calmer with the wine, so then he's like the skenim, like the 70 skenim. Why? Yain nitam b'shivim moisyos. Yud nun is 70. V'soid nitam b'shivim moisyos. And we always say nichnas yayin yotze soid. I don't know if everybody knows this idea that they're the same gematria. Nichnas yayin v'soid nitam b'shivim moisyos. It's also gematria 70. Samach is 60 and Vav Dalet is 10. Nichnas yayin yotze soid. And Memela, if you could control that and not be moiti the side, you don't give up the secrets, then you're like the Shivim Skenim. Omar Chanan Lenivra Yain Elo Lenachem Avelim. Why did Kosh Baruch create wine? To relieve the Avelim, Ulashalim Socher, because they used to give wine there, Ulashalim Socher L'Rishayim, and to pay up the Rishayim in this world. They shouldn't have schar ba'olam ha'emes. Shenemar tnu sheicher lo oived. Lo oived is the goner, the guy that's finished. Anybody doesn't have wine spilling on the floor, like water, the Ramah in Simin Reish Tzadik Vav brings this Gemara as a makar that it's okay. Machlokes if you should do it or not, but he holds that you could do it to spill wine by Havdalah as it's a klal bracha. It brings bracha. Nishbach kamayim. It's like water. Shnemar. Because Baruch Hu blesses your bread and your water. Just like bread, you could buy with the money of meiser. So we have the opportunity to show the chart again. What's meiser? Meiser sheni, very good. This truma gdoila that you give 2%. This meiser rishon they give 10% to the Levi, and then on years 1, 2, 4, 5, you give meiser sheni to who? To yourself. What do you do with it? You bring the money. If you don't want to bring the fruit, you switch it into money and you bring the money to Yerushalayim, and then you can buy bagels and What else can you buy? Can you buy water with Meiser Sheni? So we learned, if you remember, the first Mishnah Perek in the third Perek says the only thing you cannot buy with Meiser Sheni money is water and salt. So what does it say over here? Just like you can purchase bread with Meiser Sheni money, so too you can purchase mineral water here. This bottle of water you can buy with Meiser Sheni money, but that's not correct. We learned that you cannot. So you have to explain my new yain. Therefore, now the Gemara makes a lot of sense. We changed all of a sudden from water to wine. Why? Because you cannot buy water with Meiser Sheni money. My new yain, v'kakarle mayim. You spread it, you spill it, you don't care about it, you drink it like water. If you're large with the wine, you give it to Yisrael Goldstein. Then you have a bracha v'iloi by Mark Steinberg. We're coming back to Chicago Beis Hashem tomorrow night. Shidduch for son.
How does the Gemara know that it's yayin and not chalav or dvash or any of the other shiva mashkim?
Because you know what? Because if you ask Rabbi Schoenberg, he'll explain to you that the reason why they drank so much wine in those days is because they're really trying to drink water. But the water, you could get different diseases from water. They dilute it with wine, right? Rabbi Schoenberg is making sense. So that was their water. That's what they drank. If it's not water, if they didn't have soda then. They didn't drink milk. It was either water or wine. That's what people drank in those days. I think, right, Rabbi Schoenberg? I'm saying okay. A lot of water to the wine because the water wasn't drinkable really. It was problematic. They didn't have the filtration that we have today. Sponsored by Mark Steinberg, Shidduch for his son, Yitzchok Pesach Yehuda Ben Meir Yosef, and by anonymous Hatzlacha in Yiddishkeit and a schos for his family to be Torah Jews. If somebody plays basketball, if you're a basketball player, you know this Gemara very well. A person can be recognized in three different things. Bekoisoi, ubekisoi, ubekasoi, and in basketball they say ubebasketballoi, because anybody who plays basketball knows the worst comes out on the court. So what's pshat? If a person, the way he drinks, when he drinks, you can tell who he is. Ubekisoi, the way he spends, ubekasoi, when he gets angry. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a hara here. A lot of people think that this means that when a person gets angry, or let's say a person is drunk and he says a nasty thing to his wife, let's say. This is what he thinks about his wife. It says in the Gemara. That's not the pshat. So look at Rashi, Dibur Maskal Adam Nikar, top Rashi, Im Hagunhu. Rashi doesn't say that you could see what he means and what he wants to say. You could see what kind of a person he is. The way he acts, a person says shtusim when he's drunk. He doesn't mean that he this and that about his wife. When he's mad, he'll say the dumbest things. Doesn't mean that's what he's thinking. But when he's mad and he acts in a certain way, now you can tell what kind of person he is. Not what he thinks, but what kind of a person he is. You hear the difference? It's a little bit of a difference here. The way he laughs like a truck driver, or he laughs edel. The whole shul hears it when he laughs. Milk Torah, you know that kind of. Omer Rav Yud Omer Rav. Yisrael v'Nochri. Okay, Rabbi Yisai, wake up. We're back to Eruvin. Yisrael v'Nochri. All we need is 10 minutes for Eruvin. The guy that we needed a lot more time. Now we're back. This is good stuff, Lisa. I don't want to get them jealous. Wakes you up. Yisrael v'Nochri b'pnimis. Here's the story. I put a green and a red here. Now, it's not very politically correct. The green is the Yisrael, and the red is not a Yisrael, a non-Yisrael. Okay, so you have two chatzeres here. There's the inner chatzar right over here, the inner and the outer. The outer is next to the Shus Rabbim. The only way to get to the Shus Rabbim is walking through the Yisrael that lives over here. Here's Yisrael, just so you guys can see, because you can't really read it. Okay, here's the picture. B'maisa lifnei Rebbe v'asar. And Rebbe said the outer chotzer is aser. This guy can't carry in his chotzer. Oh, so let's see what's going on here. Rebbe Chiya also said it's aser. Yosef Rabbi Rav Yosef b'shili pirkei the Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes gave a drasha. At the end of the drasha, they discussed this. Rabbi Rav Yosef, the duo, together with the Rav Sheshes. But Yosef Rav Sheshes called Mar Keman Amoro Rav L'Shmaitza. Who does this go according to? Rameir. L'chayr, this goes like Rameir. Now, if you recall, Rameir holds that if one Jew lives with one guy, that Jew can't carry. One guy could answer on one Jew. Karkish Rabbi Reishes. So Rabbi agreed with Rav Sheshes. He nodded his head. Omer Rav Yosef. Trey Gavre Ravre Kirabonon. Two great Gdoilim. Litu Bahai Milsa. They're going to make such a mistake. Iker Meir. Lomali Yisrael B'chitzaina. Then why in the world do you need this whole chutzner? Put your hand over here. Here's a Rosh Hashanah. Here's a Jew. Here's a guy. The Yisrael can't carry. Why do you have to make me a whole case? There's another Yisrael in an inner thing. Mamish doesn't make sense what you're saying. You know what? That was the exact story that happened. That's why they're discussing a story that happened. But you don't need the outer. You don't need two chatzeres. One chatzer is enough for this halacha. But asked this to Rav. So they asked the Shaila, what about just the inner guy? Forget about the outer guy, just these two guys. Could the Yisrael carry? And he said, mutter. Obviously, it doesn't hold like Rameir that says that the inner guy is also one Jew and one guy is also. So you're going to tell me what? That goes according to Rabbi Elazar Yaakov. They need two Jews. When you have two Jews, remember what we said, because it's something that's shchiach. Two Jews live with a guy, so only in that case, they were masakin the idea of Eruvin. But they're not together. They're in different chatzeros. Oh. But they're in different chatzeros, but this guy has to walk through the chatzer. So now, that's another halach that we also learned, and that's called Rebbe Kiva. Eller ki Rebbe Kiva. This Jew, he can carry where he's at. But since he's able, and he could walk through the outer chutzner, the one closer to the Rosh Hashanah, he makes it also for this guy. If so, Lamali Nachri, Afili Yisrael Nami. What shaykh is the guy? This Jew makes it also on the Jew, without a guy involved at all. So we're talking about two things here. The guy does not answer it on the Jew, because we hold like Rebbe Yaakov, they need two Jews. But we also hold like Rebbe Kiva that one Jew could answer on another Jew. So then why do you need a guy? Oh, the two Jews are good with each other because they made an Eruv. So then what's the problem? The problem is that there's a guy. The two Jews made an Eruv between themselves. This guy and this guy made an Eruv. So it shouldn't be a problem. The Jew with the guy is not a problem because one guy and one Jew don't need an Eruv, according to Rebbe Yaakov. So what's the problem? The problem is that this guy can walk through the chutzner and you can't make an Eruv with him. He ruins it for this guy over here. But this guy over here is mutter to carry. He cannot answer on one Jew, but he answers on the second Jew. That's a tremendous chiddush. The time of the genochri would answer, avalek genochri lo yaser. The reverse question. Yisrael v'nochri b'chitzonah. So this, by the way, look, this is because of its simplicity. This is from the Mesifta, and this is from Kol HaLashon. Somebody just told me, I'm not kidding you. Like he met somebody who used to watch the shir because of all the beautiful pictures. But as soon as I mentioned Kol HaLashon, so he went straight to Kol HaLashon. Why does he need a shir for? Unbelievable. So I'm not going to mention anymore where it's from. So this one is from Kol HaLashon. If anybody wants to skip shir and go to Kol HaLashon and be my guest, no, Chas Shalom. We need you here. So here you have the Yisrael and the Goy on the outer one. It's more sophisticated. There's a swing set here. There's a picnic table. The whole deal. But it's not as simple. This one is like, bam, for this sugya. So, Jew and a guy on the outer one, Jew in the inner one. Very interesting shayla mao. Listen to this. In this case, a Jew will live next to a guy. What was the whole problem? Jews don't live next to Goyim one-on-one. They could get killed. In this case, he will. Why? Because this Jew is going to come inside over here and say, what happened? Where's my buddy? I need to borrow something. Where is he? He's dead. You killed him. It's a funny kind of way of thinking in life. Okay. Oh, but, and what is he going to say? The Jew left? He can't say that because he's standing by the doorway. I know he didn't leave. Real quickly, Tosis asks, but if this is shchiach, if this is how they live, so then it should be necessary to have an Eruv. The whole reason why you don't need an Eruv one-on-one with a guy is because it's not shchiach. That's not how you live. You might get killed. But one-on-one with a guy when there's a Jew in the front is shchiach. Tais says Maridik, loy plug. Have you ever heard loy plug likula? Loy plug likula, says Taisus. Because it's in l'chayra. Anyway, going back to this case. But maybe in this case also, the Yisrael might happen to walk out because he has to go to shul, and he'll still see the guy killing the Jew, so he's going to be scared. So what's the halacha? Do we say that we're geyser or not? Based on what we just learned, the guy answers on the Jew. In this case also, the guy answers on the Jew, and Mamela, you can't do that. Zog the Gemara, Shlokish Talmidei Reb Chanina, Iklu lau pundak. Resh Lakish and the Talmidei Reb Chanina went to like a hotel, an inn. V'leiha stoyer v'hava maskir. So what's going on here? Here's the inn. Here it says pundak, according to Rashi, there's pundak, Jew renting, guy renting. This guy went bye-bye for Shabbos. He's on a vacation. But they're nervous that the guy might come back on Shabbos. So what do? They go to the owner of the whole complex. Thank you. The whole complex. And say, rent us this room. What do you rent us this room? It's already rented to the guy. Oh. But there's a mandama that says you could do such a thing. Says the Gemara, the guy that rented the room is not there. Have a maskir, but the owner is there. Could we rent it from the guy, from the owner? When the owner cannot say your contract is up, get out of here. Of course he can't rent it. When the owner of the inn can tell the guy, you're on vacation now I'm going to rent it to somebody else. Who? To the Jews. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, he didn't get rid of him. Yes, he has the right to not. I did skip a line. First, let him rent it out, and then later on we'll ask. So they asked Rav Apos. You did a great thing. Now, there's an amazing Taisus here. The Taisus says that since they went to ask Rav Office, he makes a whole cheshbon that Rish Lakish was a gadol at that time. But you know what happened? We never knew this. Rish Lakish went off the derech, and he became a listim. And only later Rabbi Yochanan found him and brought him back to tshuva, and he gave him his own sister to marry. It's not pshat like we learned until Eruvin Daf Samach that Rish Lakish was a listim, and Rabbi Yochanan, Rish Lakish was a gadol adar, he was a gadol. He was in the time of Rav Office. And he went off the derech. It's amazing how a gadol like that could go off the derech. And he went back on the derech and he became the famous Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan. Zok the Gemara, a few more lines. Rabbi Chanina, you know what? Should we just stop here? It's not so simple. But let's do another 2 lines. There was an inn full of Jews. The Asa Nachri Mari the Pundak B'Shapsa. Rashi learns over here, Taisi doesn't like it, that they didn't make Erev Shabbos, and all of a sudden the owner shows up. Can we rent from him on Shabbos? And Memelo, we could do an Erev right now. But not Mamish. So Rashi says, we're going to be Mevatel all our Rishuyas to everybody, to one guy, like we said yesterday. That one guy will be able to carry. That's it. Just like you could only make an Erev, Mama Erev B'Yomi, you could only make an Erev on Friday. You can't do this on Shabbos, only on Friday. We said you're able to be mafkir rishus to one of the people, even on Shabbos. Let's rent it. You can't. Let's rely on Rabbi Chanina, Bar Yosef, and you can rent it. Asa Shaila Rabbi Yochanan. You did a good thing. All right. What? Yeah. All right, Noam. Rabbi said, have a wonderful winter. I forgot to wish everybody a good winter, a good year. And I'll see you guys in Chicago Beis Hashem tomorrow if everything goes right. Shira Malois.
Shira Malois. Menamakim Kosif Adonai.
Shmalis, Menamakim Kosif Adonai. Adonai.